back to another Monday Live video. Holy, we're gonna get into it today. There's a lot going on. Yeah, I don't even know where to begin, but I'm really, really excited for this. And yeah, I don't even know where to begin. Basically, this past weekend, I guess in this past week, there were a series of UAP UFO incidents in the news, not just North American, but actually worldwide. And at the same time, the Super Bowl was happening. A lot of people were distracted, especially in America. And I have so many questions about this, right? So, a big narrative that we're seeing in the news media right now is that, there are UAPs, UFOs that are being spotted in the sky, and the military is shooting them down, apparently. And that's kind of what is being pushed right now. So, I want to just explain something. Maybe you're new to my channel. I don't even know how to explain this. So I have my own human perspective on things, right? So as a human being, I'm like, oh my God, it could be so many different things. What is it really? I have so many different questions. And a lot of the curiosity that my human has really feeds into or funnels the direction of the channeling that I do. So mostly today, what I did was I did a lot of remote viewing to gain access to information, to really figure out what the hell is happening. What is this narrative? Is it a narrative? Is it actually happening? Is it a preparation for something? And at first, I was unsure that I would even get the information, but information came through, and there was a lot to talk about as far as what this kind of plan is, or what exactly is happening behind the scenes. I want to start off with saying that my initial human opinion or perspective, and maybe you've thought about this too with these UFOs all over the news being shot down, is it is either woohoo, we're finally at a place of full cosmic disclosure and it's here, and of course we all assumed that the government would just blindly shoot them down, and that's a good thing because disclosure is here. Or, or, this is all just a fucking plan. And if it is a plan from the cabal, the elites, the shadow government, whatever you want to call them, then what is their plan? What is their direction? What is their motive? What's the end goal to this? Is it distraction? Is it fear? Is it, what does it come down to, right? Yeah. And for me, it was either one or the other. But I was really suspicious, I think, just observing it, right? Suspicious for one main reason, many reasons, but one main reason is there have been many UFO sightings for many, many years, not just one or two. We're talking hundreds of thousands, if not more, really since the dawn of humanity. And they keep it hush. They totally suppress that shit. There is no way they would be talking about military interactions with UFOs if it was not some sort of agenda behind it. That's just my human perspective. That being said, when I remote view, when I channel, when I tap into this information, I have to let go of all of my opinions and perceptions. I have to completely separate my ego, my human, and I do that nowadays quite easily because I understand that my human doesn't know. My human is full of emotions, has no idea what's going on, but I do like to speculate. So that's kind of how I started off observing what's been going on in the past week, and then we're gonna go into what's really happening and the information that came through, which is pretty mind blowing, and it's gonna say a lot about 2023 and what we should be looking out for in 2023, because it's gonna be a very interesting year. Okay, so before we like dive into that, please be sure to like this video, give this video a thumbs up, share this video for sure for other people who may be questioning the same things and just wondering what exactly is going on. Yeah, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. There's a ton of great content on this channel and even more content on the membership channel. Next week, I really want to talk about AI again, but in a very different way. I just want to plant a seed that next Monday I'm going to be talking about simulation theory, AI, and this concept of losing grip on what is real and what reality is. And we're starting to see this with AI voiceover apps. We're seeing this with AI art. We're seeing this with AI writing technology. And it's really making us ponder what that next level of reality is going to be and how to best navigate that. So I got a couple downloads this past weekend about that, and I really want to talk about it. So that's happening next Monday. Be aware of that. If there is a video that you want to see that I talked about before, but you can't find it, it's going to be on my membership platform. I do take off YouTube videos periodically, and that just kind of keeps my channel free of censorship for the most part. Coming up, it's already happening. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day. We've got the Love Attraction Workshop. Whether you are in a long-term relationship and you need a little bit of that spark back or a little bit of better communication or what have you, want a deeper connect with your partner, the Love Attraction Workshop is for you. If you are perpetually single and you are looking for the love of your life, the Love Attraction Workshop is for you. Half of the workshop is for couples, and the other half is for individuals who are single, but all the messages are really important to hear, especially at this time. And then last but not least, the Galactic Federation recording for February is out, 2023, and it was so freaking epic. We talked about overpopulation, we talked about the future of digital currency and where we're going with that, and so many other things. So please check that out if you haven't already, even just to look over the topics and see if that is of interest to you. All right, and without further ado, let's just freaking get into it. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about with the UAPs and UFOs, essentially, like I kind of mentioned at the beginning, there have been many, many reports of UAPs or UFOs being shot down around the planet. I think three main ones in North America and then one in China, and that's being debated. So what's really going on? Why wouldn't they keep this quiet? And, is this Project Bluebeam, which we've heard about for a number of years now? I'll just give you a little brief summary of Project Bluebeam. Essentially, this is a conspiracy theory that was put out there a very long time ago. And the theory goes that the military or the powers that be have the technology to project fake UFOs or UFO holograms, essentially. And I have been kind of keeping track of where Project Bluebeam is for the past couple of years. So yeah, is this that? What is this? So the first thing that I wanted to do when I tapped into this information was I wanted to just kind of remote view around different military bases. I kind of wanted to just pick up on the information myself to see what's happening within these military bases. Can I get any sort of information? Can I gather any sort of intel just by traveling around and observing? And I couldn't. I literally couldn't. It was too overwhelming. It was too chaotic. I wasn't able to just go because it's a collective event and it's not just one event. Typically, if there's just one event involving one military, I'm able to go to one military base and gain access to that information. This just wasn't the case. It was too complex, basically, to gain access to any sort of clear information. So of course, I remote viewed, astral traveled over to the Galactic Federation headquarters, and I talked to my good friend Kinetic, who is basically the head or a part of the Pleiadian Security Council. Hopefully I didn't lose you. I know there's probably some new people watching this video, and that's like a lot to take in. But yeah, essentially they oversee matters on planet Earth. And I had to ask him, they deal with the security matters on planet Earth, and they've been telling me about different kind of plots and agendas from the governments for a very long time. And I got extremely clear information from him. As always, please take it or leave it. If it resonates with you, it's for you. If not, no big deal. You can let it go. All right. So the first piece of information that I received about what exactly is happening right now on planet Earth. They are trying to control the narrative before it gets out of hand. As a matter of fact, I should have really written this note first. What was it? What did they say? I don't even know if I wrote it down. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the first thing that Kinetic said is this was not us. This was not us or other aircraft that we know of. These were not of extraterrestrial origin. Very clear. Was not the Galactic Federation, was not another aircraft, and it was not of extraterrestrial origin. There was no specification if it was maybe a Project Bluebeam, or if it was like a reverse engineered military spacecraft. What was very clear when I got this message was that there are individuals within the military who absolutely did witness and see something, multiple members. So it's not like it's one giant lie. There was something out there, but once again, it was not of extraterrestrial origin, which is really fascinating. And a big part of this thing that's happening, I don't want to call it a plot or an agenda. I don't want to be like fear-based about it. It's basically an agenda. But a big part of it is having individuals like military members who really do believe that they saw something, who are a part of that experience. So there was something out there. The Galactic Federation is telling us it wasn't extraterrestrial. Okay, so once again, I'm going to repeat this. They are trying to control the narrative before it gets out of hand. And then I said, well, what do you mean if it gets out of hand? And the Galactic Federation said that there's going to be massive disclosure. I mean, massive disclosure has already been happening. And I'm not talking about governments admitting that there's anything going on. We're talking about like real deal UFOs in the sky. And as a matter of fact, it's been ramping up all over the world. So many reports, so many videos, all coming out 2021, 2022, and now 2023. And what Kinetic told me is that I don't want to call it a threat. There was a discussion that happened between the Galactic Federation and the governments, or the shadow governments of the world. And the Galactic Federation said, you need to stand down because we are making ourselves known. The awakening is here, it's happening, and you have to let this happen. That was a discussion that took place not too long ago. And the response from the shadow governments are like, okay, well, we refuse to stand down. We refuse to allow you to control the narrative. So no. What did they say? Oh, yeah. We refuse to work with you. I wrote that down in quotations. That's what the government said to the Galactic Federation. We refuse to work with you. There's a bit of a battle that's happening right now between these two parties, which is really fascinating. So it's a preparation for disclosure. This is what it comes down to. Disclosure is happening. It's been happening, but it's going to ramp up. It's going to happen at a much bigger scale. And surprise, surprise, they want to control the narrative as to how it happens. The other thing that was really fascinating that Kinetic brought up is that they specifically chose, they knew they needed to do it soon as far as controlling the narrative, but they also specifically chose to control this narrative during the Super Bowl weekend. And I asked why. And it came through as, oh yeah, to ensure that many were distracted. So it's almost like they want to start controlling the narrative, but they don't want to bring everyone to a full-on panic, but they want to start, putting it out there that, hey, this is going on and we're going to have to, what it felt like anyway, I don't know if he said this. No, he didn't say this in particular. Here's what it felt like, right? It felt like the governments are trying to prepare for an unending war with a mysterious target. It's kind of like the war on terror after the 9/11 attacks, right? It's like, we don't know who the terrorist is, but we're going to put a lot of money and a lot of resources into this war on terror. It's this untangible thing. And this is what's ramping up right now, is this fear. And Kinetic did mention the fear. So the other thing that came up too is that the military, the governments, are actually preparing at an internal level. They're preparing the troops to fire. They're preparing their militaries to take lethal action, which is, I mean, come on, like, you can't really take lethal action against a much more advanced civilization that can stop your nukes in its tracks, let alone really anything else that you fire at it. So it's very clear that there's a much bigger agenda at play. And I'm not sure if that much bigger agenda is just controlling the narrative and it stops there, or if the much bigger agenda is promoting the fear, distraction, because something else is happening. I wasn't able to kind of go any deeper than that, but it was clear that disclosure is about to happen and they want to be completely controlling that narrative. What else did they say? Yes, creating fear, as per usual. This really came up. So part of this kind of agenda that's taking place is the shadow governments are creating a lot of fear around UFOs, a lot of fear around UAPs, and they're putting this military force behind it with this assumption to the people that they need military force behind it because we don't know what it is. And it's funny because what Kinetic was saying is that part of the agenda, there was like two parts, right? Or two possibilities that the Galactic Federation has been observing with this military action, which they have talked about Project Bluebeam being a possibility even a couple of years ago. Same thing, controlling the narrative. And so what did they say? Oh yeah. So Kinetic was saying that the governments could have either said, oh my goodness, we know what's behind these unidentified objects and it's really scary, so watch out. Or they could have left it at, we have no idea what's behind these unidentified objects, so you better be freaking scared. So in their mind, it's what's going to drive more fear into the masses, the known or the unknown? And they obviously chose the unknown, right? I mean, the greatest fear that humans can have is the fear of the unknown. So they're really building this fear. Okay, what else? Right, okay. And the other thing that I thought was interesting that Kinetic was mentioning is that there's 3 countries that want to control the narrative first. America, China, and Canada. Yeah. If you just kind of take a look at what's been going on in those countries in the past couple of years, it's kind of obvious that, of course, they want to control the narrative first. So that came up. And then what's really interesting is that they specifically told me the next 6 months, but I'm really feeling for the rest of 2023. But they said for the next 6 months, there are going to be more scary events to unfold. It feels like this is actually just the beginning of this agenda. that they're going to continue to push this fear-based narrative, and they're going to continue to try and control the narrative around UFOs, around alien disclosure. Once again, the only reason why they feel they need to act to control the narrative is because disclosure is happening and they don't have a grip on it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a PR stunt. It's like, okay, well, this is happening no matter what, so what can we do about it to continue to control that narrative and control the people? Okay, cool. So then I asked the Galactic Federation, I said, okay, well, should we be worried? Like, I mean, I'm not worried because we can now see this unfolding and playing out like very clearly. But how is the rest of the world going to react? And knowing how they've reacted before in 2020, it was really split. I mean, half the people got totally sucked into the narrative that they wanted to control, and the other half the people really woke up in 2020. So, I'm more worried about this plan working. And here's what Kinetic said, and it was so clear. This plan will backfire. Woo! This plan will backfire. It'll backfire. People will awaken. They will awaken. And they called it false disclosure. Like everything, like that in particular, this past week has all been false disclosure. I thought that was an interesting thing. And then, and this gives me kind of chills, the Galactic Federation said real disclosure is happening individually. Now, they've told us this actually for years, but it lands a little bit differently right now. Now, yes, it is true that there are actual extraterrestrial crafts that are being seen, that are being spotted, and almost like a subtle disclosure is happening all over the world. But real disclosure is happening at an individual level, and it's happening at a very loving and peaceful way. And so what they mean by individual disclosure, it could be you in your backyard seeing a UFO for the first time, or maybe you and a couple family members. It could be a dream that you have. You've never even thought about aliens before, and all of a sudden you have a dream of an alien. Or you wake up and you feel like you can't move and there's a gray in your room, but you feel, it's pretty loving, or what have you. Individual disclosure is happening right now, rapid pace, to prepare us for what's to come, but also what individual disclosure does. The second we have an experience with extraterrestrials or, paranormal, but let's just say aliens, okay, or UFOs, there is a vibrational frequency within us that is immediately unlocked. There is this immediate recognition and awareness that this is real. It's real. No amount of videos, no amount of news articles, no amount of channelers that you watch are going to prove to you that this is real. What is going to prove to you that it's real is your own contact. And it could happen in so many different ways. So please be aware of that. So individual disclosure is rampant right now. And then my biggest question to Kinetic, to kind of like close off this topic, is what's next? Like, what do we need to do about this now? How do we move forward from this? What do we do? Cool, we have the information, we're aware of the plans that are unfolding. I'm excited for what's to come. I'm kind of excited to see this like little mini battle between, the powers that be and the GFL and the other powers that be, I guess, play out. Because ultimately everything, they're acting in this way. They are throwing out this next sort of agenda. Why? Because they're scared. They are so scared. They are so scared that they're losing grips, they're losing control, and they don't know how to navigate this. So they're just throwing shit out there, hoping to create more and more fear. We've seen this, especially in the past couple of years. oh, now it's monkeypox. You know, it's like, come on, right? This is going to be the next thing, and it's only beginning. So what's next? What do we do next? Before I get to 4 really incredible points about that, once again, please give this video a thumbs up if you like it. That's awesome. That helps me out. Definitely share this video on your networks, on your channels, on Reddit, on Twitter, on all the TikTok, on all the other things. Please go and share this content. This is important. People need to know. Definitely subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. And if you're looking for love or you need to clean up your love life, check out the Love Attraction Workshop. You get a workbook. It's a beautiful 1.5 hour long, lesson, and it's a deep dive into really what unconditional love is within a partnership. And of course, if you want to hear more from the Galactic Federation, the February 2023 Galactic Federation Summit was so freaking epic, and we talked about so many great things to once again be aware of and be prepared for. And then once again, next week, I'm going to be talking about AI simulation, what is real, and what does this mean for the future? It's kind of another angle that it's just such a big topic. There's another angle I want to talk about. So please be aware of that. And thank you guys so much for the super chats. Pico, you guys are great. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so what do we do now? What's next? We have the information. We know what's about to kind of unfold and take place. But what do we do? First thing is guide the people who are in fear about UAPs and UFOs. Maybe it's family members. Maybe it's like a distant aunt or cousin. And they hit you up in the next 6 months or, in 2023. And they're like, hey, Randy, yeah, I heard you once talk about like aliens. What is going on? Do you have any insight? Do you know what's happening? Guide the people who are in fear. Because all of a sudden, this topic that we've all been raving about in our own bedrooms for the past however many years is going to be mainstream news. And this is just the beginning. Like I said, they planned this around Super Bowl so that it wasn't full disclosure, so that they don't freak everyone out, so that they can kind of leak it slowly but surely. But guaranteed, there are going to be people coming to you who need advice or need help navigating this brand new thing that they're about to step into. So please help the people that will be in fear about this because you're getting the inside knowledge beforehand. Yes, they're real, but they're not all scary. They're just like human beings. There are some good ones, some bad ones, and the good ones really want to help see us evolve. And we're a part of them. And actually, we're hybrids, but maybe you can leave that out because it's a lot. It is a lot. All right, next point here of what do we do next is ask for individual disclosure. If you either haven't received individual disclosure yourself, in the form of seeing a UFO or having some sort of weird dream or having some sort of contact yourself, don't worry, ask for it. Or maybe you had disclosure, but it happened 10 years ago or 5 years ago or even 3 months ago. And you're like, I want it again. You just ask. You just say, hey, universe, hey, higher self, hey, spirit guides, like I am ready for disclosure myself. I am ready to unlock this next level of my own DNA. I am ready to understand this world and this universe at a deeper level. I am ready for disclosure. And just be careful what you ask for. Because it happens. It does. All right, next suggestion here is tune out the news. Tune it out. Don't worry about it. I mean, most of us, I think, already just tune out the news, but it's like, don't get sucked into that narrative. And I would say, just be cautious about alternative news as well. Because what we saw unfolding in 2020 is all you had was the news and the alternative news. And it was like the extreme opposite ends of things. try and find a little bit of this neutral ground. Try and understand that, it's all unfolding the way that it needs to. We're here to have this great experience, and there's good and bad in every aspect of this reality, both here and around the universe. So tune out the news, but use your discernment with the other sorts of news, and ultimately you are your own best guide, which leads me to my last point, which is use your discernment with everything. Once again, if this video really resonated with you and you're like, yep, like when I say when something resonates with you, this is how I interpret it because I use my own discernment every single day. It's such a clear yes. It's such a clear, deep connection to the information that that's it. That makes sense. That feels good. That aligns with exactly what I feel. Not even think, right? Because it's using a different kind of tool. It integrates with you. If something doesn't resonate with you, doesn't integrate with you, then it's going to cause a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety. You're going to be up at night thinking about it, worrying about it. And that's just not healthy for you. Once again, you are the only one in charge of creating your reality. You are in charge of the way that you feel about things and the information that comes into you and what you experience next. So use your discernment, ask for disclosure if you want it, and it's time to really walk around eyes wide open and start to really navigate the disclosure that's about to unfold and has been unfolding. So very exciting times. 2023 is going to be incredible. And that's it. That's all for me. So thank you all so much for tuning in as per usual. Keep up the good work. And I will see you all next week on next Monday's Live. Bye for now.